there was this time my dad was talking about President Duterte of the Philippines, and he, the president was telling us of how he was barely passing in law school. So he wanted to be an attorney, and he said in the Philippines when you have to get a certain level in order to pass. If you got a 74, you would fail. However, if you got a 75, you would pass. So getting a 75 is just 1 point above failure, which means that you barely passed. And the thing is, although President Duterte is like very powerful because he's the president, of course, he's very powerful, and yet in law school when he was studying, he got 75s for everything. He barely passed in literally every subject in law school. Whilst all of his other friends were very smart, they were valedictorian, they were honor roll, they were top of the class. And they all had like 90 and above. They were very, very smart academically. And what I found really funny was Duterte said that I barely passed in school and all of my smart friends were better than me, getting better scores than me, and yet I'm the president and they're all working for me. So, why is that? Why is it that so many successful people, CEOs, presidents, etc., they all are like D average students? They're not bright academically, and yet they're the most successful people, whilst the smartest people are the ones that actually work for them. Why is that? And I think it's because the leaders are actually more intelligent than those intelligent bookish people. Because those bookish people, they understand the textbook better than the president, but the president, he understands life more than the textbook. And I think understanding life is more important than understanding what's in the contents of a book. Because someone could tell you all about the different medical conditions that one could have and the various little treatments of it, all the tiny discoveries, the history of medicine, all the things within a textbook. But they can't exactly tell you how to be consistent in a habit. They can't exactly tell you how to achieve your goals or how to get good social skills. They're taught how to thrive in university rather than to thrive in their life. Because in reality, school doesn't actually prepare you for school. It doesn't teach you anything that actually matters for the things that you want in life. And how did these leaders and successful, smart people get more intelligent than these other bookish people without really being academically smart? And I think it's through a few things that, from experience, that I can tell really have helped me become more intelligent in the leader kind of way rather than in the academic way. And the one biggest thing I'd say that would help you become more intelligent as a leader and helps you understand life more than just the textbook is to be curious. Always seek for a full understanding and ask questions. So what I personally do in my own life, I always try to, whenever I slightly don't understand something, I always try to complete that understanding. If I understand something 99% and it's only this 1% of missing information from my brain, I will always try to resolve that and ask a question. So for example, someone could tell you how to become more intelligent, but really, what is intelligence? I've been talking about intelligence a lot in this video, the leader kind of intelligence, and throughout all this video, you didn't actually really understand what intelligence means. Even though I told you that being intelligent doesn't mean being bookish and knowing all the answers to the math questions on the test. When I keep telling you intelligence, you imagine like some scientist in a lab coat mixing with these like green chemicals and also answering all those like complicated Schrodinger's equations on the blackboard with the chalk. You're still imagining the stereotypical, conventional, academic intelligence. Whenever I encounter a term like intelligence and I notice that I slightly don't understand it, I have a 90% understanding, I dive deeper. What is intelligence? Intelligence is it's your ability to give efficient solutions to problems in life. That's the first thing. Second thing could be how quickly you learn. And by learn, I mean how quickly you can change your behavior in response to experience, etc., etc. Let's just go with those two things. A leader a person with true intelligence will always try to have complete and full understanding. He will always, whenever he encounters something that he slightly doesn't understand, he will dive deeper and ask these questions so that he can really understand it. Like, what is intelligence? Why is intelligence important? How can you tell that someone is intelligent? And how can you discern the difference between an intelligent person and an unintelligent person? These kinds of questions that allow you to seek knowledge or to capture knowledge and put it into your brain. When you try to seek full understanding of things, you also process things a lot quicker. You increase your intuition because you automatically just have the knowledge stored within your brain. You have this framework that allows you to understand more. So I think just the one biggest thing that allows you to be more of a leader intelligence kind of thing. I think there are other factors, other habits that you could do that allow you to become more of that leader intelligent. However, I think the one biggest thing that you could do right now is to seek full understanding. Whenever you hear a concept that you slightly don't understand, you have a 90% understanding, seek the other 10%. Ask questions about it and try to answer it. And if the situation calls for it, you can actually ask one of those questions to your peers and you can get their answers. Always seek to understand life and not just understand the textbook. See you.